staff writer at The Atlantic and author of the Atlantic Daily newsletter, Tom Nichols. All right, so not a lot of pushback for Kash Patel. When Chuck Grassley says teach them a lesson, should we expect, I mean, just give us what would you be expecting if you were at the DOJ and Kash Patel takes charge?
Well, as with most of these nominees, a certain amount of chaos, because it's not just going to be Kash Patel taking charge. It's going to be Kash Patel and his team, his appointees, the people he wants around him that he's comfortable with. And, you know, one of the things that you don't really get to in confirmation hearings are questions about who would those people be. You know, if in the case of Pete Hegseth, for example, Hegseth really doesn't know how to run the Pentagon. Does the deputy secretary know how to run the Pentagon? Do the undersecretaries know? And it's going to be the same thing. Who are going to be the assistant directors, the advisors, the people that are around Kash Patel, the people who might not do the things for Donald Trump that Kash Patel is clearly going to be willing to do?
Kash Patel has been described as somebody who would do anything for Donald Trump. The Elena Plak-Calabro for The Atlantic had a great piece about him being somebody who would, didn't matter what the law was, he would literally do anything for Donald Trump. Donald Trump would have no oversight over his interactions with the DOJ, no oversight over his interactions with the Attorney General, because the Supreme Court has ruled any of those interactions, no matter what they are immune, period. Donald Trump has said that he's upset at his enemies. You know, he wants retribution. We've seen officials who have worked for him, done things under his orders, stripped of their security clearance, stripped of their personal protection. And these are people within the government. Should people that are civilians now be concerned about, if they've ever said anything negative about Donald Trump, that they might have FBI agents at their doorstep?
Well, I think, you know, for very senior appointees in the previous administration or people that Donald Trump wants to settle scores with, sure. I think for the average federal employee, what they really have to worry about is getting fired or released without proper cause, terminated, you know, on trumped up kind of problems, trumped up accusations that they haven't done their job, when the real problem is that they're considered politically unreliable. This is why Trump wants to get control of the civil service and then destroy the civil service, because the civil service, like the FBI, like all these other institutions in American life, are things that constrain the power of each branch of government. We're supposed to be living in a system of limited democratic government, where the government has its power limited by other institutions in the government, but Donald Trump doesn't like that. So I think that would be the main worry. But I think there will be high-profile targets. I mean, when Kash Patel says we're not going to politicize the FBI, you know, that's hard to listen to with a straight face. I mean, yeah. He has spent years saying, I will politicize the FBI and use it the way Donald Trump wants it used. So I think for certain people, especially very visible people, yeah, they should be concerned. Absolutely.
It appears, while Ryan Nobles is reporting that Kash Patel looks like he is going to get confirmed, Tulsi Gabbard, there are still questions about a number of senators. A lot of Republicans really pressed her yesterday on Edward Snowden to say he's a traitor. She refused to do so, and she was pushing back toward senators who were asking her that, even Republicans. They were also asking her about FISA warrants. She's been skeptical of the process by which they're obtained. Do you sense that she is of a different category than Kash Patel for Republicans? And if so, why?
Yeah, she is. And I think that's unfortunate, because I think of the remaining really unacceptable nominees, I think there were 4, with Hegseth leading the pack. Now of Patel, Gabbard, and RFK, I think actually Patel is easily the most dangerous of the 3 of those. But he's also very adept. I mean, in his meetings with the senators, he was apparently, you know, pretty slick, and was able to, you know, talk his way past a lot of problems. And you saw it in his confirmation hearing, where, you know, he very easily just said, guy whose show I've been on many times, don't remember him. You know, he's
8 times.
8 times, right? I mean, which is kind of offensive if you're the guy whose show that is. Anyway, he was able to tap dance his way past a lot of that. Gabbard, from the reports I've seen and heard, is just not very adept in these meetings, and the senators came out, kind of thinking, just doesn't. She doesn't connect. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just not reassuring. And it is a weird thing. She did pick that one hill to die on of Edward Snowden. She very carefully backtracked about, I'm nobody's puppet, and I'm offended at the accusation that I would support Russia, and so on and so forth. But boy, she really dug in on Edward Snowden, which, 10, 12 years ago might have been a more defensible position back when Pete Snowden still had a lot of defenders. But in a bipartisan chamber where, kind of everybody gets it that what Snowden did was commit, steal American secrets and then flee to Russia through China, that's a pretty hard sell. And it's kind of weird for her to keep standing on that.
Yeah, I did wonder about that. I mean, Edward Snowden himself came out and said, throw me under the bus if you need to, for whatever that's worth. I want to bring in Washington Post national columnist Philip Bump. The other nominee is RFK Jr. Phil, thanks for joining us. I want to play a little bit of what another Republican senator pressed him on. This is Senator Cassidy, a doctor from Louisiana. Let's listen. Let's come.
Gabbard, a simple yes or no question. Do you still think Edward Snowden is...
I heard it. I heard it start. It's going to come. This is Senator Cassidy. He's pushing RFK Jr. on vaccines.
I just had a friend text me 2 children died in intensive care unit in a Baton Rouge hospital from vaccine preventable diseases this past month. So my concern is that if there's any false note, any undermining of a mama's trust in vaccines, another person will die from a vaccine preventable disease. Now, you've got a megaphone. Maybe you and Bernie, Bobby and Bernie. Of everybody in this room, the 2 of you have the biggest followings, tremendous credibility. And with that influence comes a great responsibility. Now, my responsibility is to learn, try and determine if you can be trusted to support the best public health. Now, let's be political. I'm a Republican. I represent the amazing state of Louisiana. And as a patriotic American, I want President Trump's policies to succeed in making America and Americans more secure, more prosperous, healthier. But if there's someone that is not vaccinated because of policies or attitudes you bring to the department, and there's another 18-year-old who dies of a vaccine-preventable disease, helicoptered away, God forbid, dies, it'll be blown up in the press. The greatest tragedy will be her death, but I can also tell you an associated tragedy, that will cast a shadow over President Trump's legacy, which I want to be the absolute best legacy it can be.
All right, so just like Tulsi Gabbard, this is not something that he was willing to back off on. Phil, give us a little bit more about what's going on with RFK Jr.
Yeah, well, I mean, to some extent, it's sort of hard to say. I mean, I think it is clearly the case that RFK Jr. has a track record that's very hard for him to escape. He was literally the leading voice in the United States of America prior to the coronavirus pandemic about raising concerns, unfounded concerns about the efficacy and safety of vaccines. That is who he is. That is how he got the influence that the senator was just referring to. He became that person, that voice. And fundamentally, I think it's important to recognize that he was taking a path that a lot of people have taken, particularly on the political right, in which you are raising questions about what the elites are saying, what the experts are saying, because there is value to that and there's demand for it. And so that was the tack that he took. It's clear that he believes a lot of what he had said in the past, but it is hard for him to escape that. It is hard for him to present himself as, actually, I do have this a moderate record and moderate views of vaccines, simply because there is such a robust library of information about what he's done in the past and said in the past that got him to the point where he is now. And now that's all just become baggage.